Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, it is time to get out your washi tape stash because that is something we are using up today in our stash. Now, I will say, if you have not gone down the rabbit hole of washi tape, then A, well done, and B, you can use cardstock strips for this, no problem at all. So just replace what I'm doing with washi tape and use some cardstock. That would be fine. Or you could even do some inking. That would look fabulous too. So up to you. But all I do here is I put out some washi tapes on my desk and then I move the colours around until I have a batch of them that I like side by side. Then I have a 5x5 piece of cardstock here, the white cardstock. I use the Frenchville brand from Spotlight here in New Zealand, and I know that you can get the exact same one in the Australia Spotlight. It is £300 and it is beautiful cardstock. In my opinion, it's comparable to the Nina Solar White. That's what I used to use, but for me it became too expensive to get a hold of here in New Zealand, and so this one here, the Frenchville brand, works absolutely beautiful. Beautiful for ink blending, beautiful for card bases, beautiful for alcohol markers, all of the good stuff. So I am just going to put a whole lot of these. Now I like the ripped, torn edges here. I don't mind that at all, but if you like things to be clean and beautiful, then you can absolutely cut them with scissors or put them down on a piece of paper and cut them with a trimmer, and then you could stick that on top of your panel if you like things to be nice and neat and just so. Now I'm going to take an alphabet die set here. This is one from scrapbook.com. Now this is just where you can, the world is your oyster. You can absolutely personalize this. This could have a name. This could say baby. It could say birthday. It could say happy. That's why I find it handy to have at least one decent alphabet set on hand. And for this one, I actually have scrapbook.com sell them with the capitals and the lowercase. And so I have both sets. They also do, on their branded products, they also do very, very good sales. And so that makes it really affordable to get a set of alphabet dies, because otherwise sometimes it can be expensive. I am going to use the letter Q there, I think it is, or a B upside down, and I'm going to pop that in place where the second P will go once, because I want the word happy, and obviously there's only one P in the alphabet set that I have, so I've used, I think it's the B. And then I'm going to line these all up on a piece of mint tape, just lining them up along the bottom. Then take away that spare letter, it was just a space saver, and then pop this in the middle of a scrap piece of cardstock. Now we are going to cut this down so it's okay. And of course this is just going to cut out those gorgeous little letters. Using the mint tape means that I'm not going to rip anything. I do need to run this back through again because I need two of the P's, obviously. Now I had an absolutely great day making these. I made lots of these cards. I'm going to show you a few of them at the end, but I'm just going to make one of them with you, and then we're going to reverse it and sort of do the reverse of this to show you another version of what you could do. But anyhow, I have my happy. Now don't forget to save the innards of the letters, the insides. We might use those later on to fill in those pieces, or you can just leave it empty if that's the look that you like as well. Use my trimmer. This is the Dress My Craft trimmer. I will put a link to it down below. This is a gorgeous trimmer. I absolutely love it. I have had it for years now. I'm very happy with it. And as I said, I will leave a link down below. Don't forget to buy a couple of replacement blades and also a scoring blade. I love that it has both a scoring and a cutting blade as well. Then I'm taking this Gina K stamp set, and this is where I'm just going to partially ink up the stamp, obviously the birthday part of it, so that the message will read happy birthday. And it didn't quite stamp perfectly, completely my fault, and so I'm just going over it with a little black fine liner and colouring it in, and no one will ever know the difference that we didn't stamp it perfectly to begin with. If I'd used a stamping platform, then this probably wouldn't have happened, but I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. I quite like reaching for my acrylic blocks as well. So this time I just to sort of make everything coordinate, I want the outside to have a little bit of colour instead of being white. So I'm going to use, I just picked a colour from my stash that would coordinate with one of the washi tapes, and that happens to be the Triple Berry Dye Ink by Simon Hurley. So I get a little foam brush here, and I'm just going to pop this around the outsides. I have a piece of scrap copy paper underneath just to catch all the leftover ink. And then this is really, you don't have to do perfect blending. I'm just putting a decent layer, a decent good bit of ink on there, and making sure that it's relatively even. But there's actually going to be a really small portion of it showing around the outside, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. But I do like that colour, and as I said, it coordinates nicely with one of the colours that is in my washi tapes that I used. So here's a little tip someone gave me. If you can't be bothered getting your scissors out, you can use the edge of an acrylic block to tear, because this is the Pink and Main tear tape. And so if your paper is able to be torn, then your double-sided adhesive is able to be torn, then you can use your little acrylic block edge just to, instead of getting out the scissors every time. So you absolutely could make this a shaker window. By all means, this would make a great shaker, but I'm not going for a shaker today. I'm just going to be happy using this as is. Pop this down on top of all of that gorgeous bright washi. I'm going to go on a little angle for something different. This is very out of my comfort zone. Then I'm going to pop these little pieces back inside of the letters here, and that just makes them look a little bit more complete. As I said, you don't have to do that at all, but a little bit more finished. I am taking this tiny little set here. This is the Tiny Tag Sayings Birthday from Fawn. I have no idea if this is still available, but as usual, I will link it down below if it is still available. And I'm using the little Hip Hip Hooray. I was just looking for a nice small sort of delicate stamp, and that is going to be almost like a little sub-sentiment, I guess, a little bit of extra something. Then, of course, my wobbly lines to go around the outside of the card and just create a nice sort of black, strong, little border to go around the outside, but of course it's nice and wobbly. It means we don't have to get it straight. It means nothing has to be perfect. Then I'm going to take off the double-sided tape that we have on the back, and this is going to go straight down onto my card base, which is just a fraction bigger. Now I will hand make all of my envelopes for this because it's a little bit of a bigger size and a little bit of an odd size for what I have. So I will just make an envelope to go along with this, and probably include some of that purple washi tape as well. Now, as I said, I had a great time with this technique. I went for gold and created some more baby cards. I was noticing that we are in the season of babies, and we have a few people are looking for the cards in my stash, which probably means I need to make some more of them. Now, I did want to show you I sort of wanted to experiment with what would be the opposite of this. So I'm going to take a panel here. Now, I learnt a little something along the way. You'll see the colours end up changing, and that's okay. So I picked out a few colours thinking that this would be a baby boy card, I believe. And I'm actually going to cover the whole panel, top to bottom. I want it to go right around, because we're going to do, my idea was to do the reverse of the first card. So it's kind of doing all the layers, but in reverse. So I've got the word baby again, and I've got my panel up in the top right. And I am going to, remember last time that we die cut out of a plain white piece of cardstock and pop that on top of the colour? Well, this time we're going to die cut from the colour and then put it on top of plain white cardstock. But here's my problem. When I did this, I just think that the colours were a little, there wasn't enough contrast. So you are going to see these change, but it's a great lesson to learn. I stamped from a little Fawn set the word boy because I wanted to say baby boy, and I'm just literally going to pop this tiny little bit down the bottom so it just makes sense. And I mean, I absolutely love this. I think this design here you could turn into a whole different card. I think a gorgeous like navy blue or something in the background behind that word baby would look beautiful, but we just need the contrast. So at the moment we're still going with the original colors. This is one of the tapes that I used, and then I'm going to use it again to create a nice border. So again, we're going with the opposite, the reverse of what we did the first time. Now, if you're unsure if your washies still have good enough stick or you're concerned about their level of stick, then I absolutely encourage you to put a clear layer of clear matte medium over top. So just a layer of basically a liquid glue, and use it like paint it on there. If it's really, really thick, then perhaps you could water it down, but that way you just know that it's never going anywhere. I use the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish. That's what I use in my glue bottle, but it's also what I used in all of my mixed media and things, and I know that things aren't going anywhere if I have popped that down, and so that's what I use if I'm just not sure about a washi tape, and that way you don't have to throw it out. So there we've created a border because we just used a torn piece of paper to create our white layer. Now about here I was like, there's just not enough contrast. It just doesn't look it's hard to tell the word, I guess. When it's hard to tell, you have to sort of struggle to read what the word is. That's when I switched colours. So I went with a little bit stronger, darker blue colours, darker colours in general. I definitely still have some of the lighter ones in there, so that's absolutely fine. And then again, I needed a nice dark border on it too. I'm still able to use all of the torn piece of paper and everything that I had, so I'm happy with that. But I just had to recreate this part here and then the border, and that's okay because we learn lessons along the way. And then again, I just took off that little buoy and just going to pop that down there, and we're good to go. Then when it comes to putting all of this one together, I sort of had to put my brain into gear because I kept wanting to do the opposite. I kept wanting to do what I'd done the first time around. So I had to think about how it went. But this one looks much, much better. Bear in mind that it doesn't have all of those things in between. So I was just sort of showing you that actually I could have chosen either of the backgrounds because I had used that green washi tape. Both of them look really nice. I absolutely could have used either. Then I've got some sticky adhesive on the back of this one. I'm just using double-sided tape because it sticks firmly, beautifully. It's not going anywhere once I lay it all down. Then I put the foam tape on the back. Again, this would be a beautiful shaker card. By all means, make it a shaker card. I do think that would add a good fun element. So here I've just made sure I've got all of those excess little pieces, the insides of the letters. I make sure that they're on the exact same foam tape, so they're going to all be nice and the same height. Then I pop it down on my card, pop in all my little pieces, try and remember which ones went where and how they originally were, and then this is going to end up being the opposite. But I probably should have, before I did this stage, before I glued on the baby part, I probably should have done the lines. Now this one here is the congratulations, that's set, surprisingly that's what it's called, congratulations from the Woodware company, and I think this one is just a really gorgeous, they have lots and lots of these little stamp sets. They have like auntie and uncle ones, grandma and granddad ones, they have baby ones, they have congratulations on your engagement ones, these tiny little stamp sets, which I find absolutely invaluable because obviously they're really cheap because two things. One, the Woodware Craft Company does a really good quality stamp, but for a really low price. Even their really large ones are great, but also two, it's naturally a small stamp and so going to cost much less, so they are really good. I'll link a few of them that I have down below in case you're interested in checking them out. But there's the one that's in reverse, and it took my brain to get a minute to get around it, but we got there. So these are the two different types for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. We are back to basics card making, and I really like these two. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye!